0.
Oh, Poster Children is live now, just like, but I can't hear anything.
Really? Oh, sorry. Your microphone's not plugged in. Hold on.
Oh.
Radio Zero with Rick and Rose. Just maybe talk a little bit, Rose, while I
Check,
get
1,
your
2, 3. Or don't say check, just actually talk. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I can see myself on the live on the camera there. So, boy, my voice sounds great. Oh, yeah, I can hear myself now. Yeah, so I didn't hear the beginning music, so I didn't get to say, hey, it's Poster Children. Or it's Faith. What? Wait, can we start again? Oh, you're doing the thing.
Radio 0.
Did you already do this, though? It's Radio Zero. It's Radio Zero with Rick and Rose, Friday, February 16th, 2024. 5:02 p.m. Go ahead.
You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go to radiozero.us. We live stream every other Friday on Facebook, on the Radio Zero page and Poster Children page, on Twitch at PCJCUSA, and on the Poster Children YouTube channel, typically at about 5:03 p.m. Central on Fridays.
There was a blizzard today.
You can patronize us at patreon.com/Radio Zero. Thanks to everyone who is donating to this program.
Oh, we're starting in already on Billy Corgan. Cody B says Billy Corgan sucks. Why, did he do something? Was he at the Super Bowl? Did he do something wrong? What did he do?
He sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" badly. It's a little classic snippet from Radio
That's
Zero.
That's right. He
20 years ago.
He does suck, asshole.
What?
Did he do something wrong? What? I know he's bald. What did he do?
Nothing wrong with that, Rose.
Yeah. What did he do to you, Cody? Did he attack you in some way? Did he insult you? Is he politically opposed to your ideas? Tell us more, and we'll, actually, yeah, sometimes I'm in music business class and somebody's wearing a Smashing Pumpkins shirt or something like that. And then
you say to them, why don't you just wear an Alex Jones t-shirt?
Yeah. Oh, he didn't do anything. He just sucks. Cody's just saying nothing. He just apparently just sucks.
3-time guest on Alex Jones' show, right? So 1 time,
shame
on me. 2 times, shame on you. 3 times, you're a fucking asshole.
Oh, okay. Well, there you have it. Maybe he just wants attention.
Well, yeah. And yeah, maybe everybody just wants attention.
Oh, they're playing again, aren't they? Aren't they playing?
Yeah.
Every time I see the Smashing Pumpkins are going to play, I look to see if Darcy is with them, and then I know I've chosen the right band because she's not.
There were talks, I think. There were negotiations, but I think they fell
didn't
through.
Get her to.
Yeah.
Poor thing, man.
No,
okay.
I think it's probably a healthy choice. It might be a healthy choice.
Yeah. We go way back, us and the Smashing Pumpkins, and you can just look through the archive of Radio Zero to hear it. We were on our first record. Our first vinyl is together on Halo Records, Light into Dark. There's a Smashing Pumpkins song and a Poster Children song. They opened for us in Champaign. We opened for them in Chicago. They got famous. We didn't. They're assholes. We're not. Darcy's very nice. When back in the day, I remember talking to them all. They were very nice, but Billy was a little competitive. And I'm not really into competitive music playing. I don't know if you are, Rick. You into the
I love it.
Competitive music?
I go into the arena every day.
With yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. The competitiveness all happens inside my own head, though.
But
yeah.
I mean, they open for us, we open for them. But you could tell, we always talk about, you could tell, what was it? Jeff was in the band, right? And what? How? Jeff Dempsey?
Was in our band?
Or Jeff Dempsey talks about
Oh,
like
meeting Billy.
Like
Yeah,
Billy,
he talked about meeting Billy. Yeah,
but Billy was in a dorm somewhere at U of I.
it was weird. Yeah, I don't. It's his story. It's not. I can't remember. It's a 30-year-old story. But yeah, no. I mean, yeah. Whatever.
I hugged Billy Corgan. It's in my book. You can get my book at uofipress.com.edu.
And
he was really freaked out that he wasn't going to be famous or something. So yeah, when you have so much stuff, then you have a lot to lose. So that's why he has to go on the Alex Jones show.
and that was a long time ago.
Him and Morrissey, that he's like he's following the Sensei Morrissey's path, right? Sensei Morrissey.
I was thinking about this. It is an arc, and it is what happens with almost everybody who hits a resonant chord, syncs up with the culture, and becomes massively popular. Then, as that sort of momentary sinking starts drifting off, then you have to get increasingly sort of controversial, I guess, or you just need to maintain attention. So, I mean, you could say that about Kanye, you could say that about Trump, you can say that about, I don't know,
Billy Corgan, Morrissey, me,
Madonna. Like, so watching this movie for another podcast, that Madonna was supposed to be in, but she didn't like the nudity and the sexuality of the movie and didn't want to do it. And it's like, and then, like a few years later, she had that whole nude, right? Like photo book or something. So it's about, at some point people,
you get addicted to your fame.
Well, yeah, and you have to sort of replace that resonance and that synchronicity you have with popular culture. Then you have to kind of find ways of, getting attention. Dave Chappelle, right? Comedians that, start complaining about how they're being canceled, and it's what it is that they're culturally out of sync. They had this amazing resonance. They were in sync,
yeah.
Or right on the edge. You kind of have to be a little on the edge with comedy, right? You're pushing the envelope just enough to make people laugh, but not pushing the envelope so far. But then
if it bends, it's funny. If it breaks,
yeah. And then after a while, you're no longer in sync. The world moves on. The culture moves on,
which is healthy. We want the culture to move on.
Yeah,
this Taylor Swift
maybe.
thing. Are we going to move on from Taylor?
Yeah, and so that's the
when
thing.
Are we going to move on from the Beatles?
Right. Yeah. So, but the Beatles were. You could say that, like, even John Lennon was doing some of that, where he was, the extreme. You could say, yeah, the kind of stuff he was doing right at the end of the Beatles. The Two Virgins record and all the Plastic Ono Band stuff. It was in a similar vein, but I would give that more credit to him exploring the avant-garde, maybe, but still, and then he just stopped making music for a while, or putting it out, and then heard the B-52s and heard Paul McCartney's solo record with all the synthesizers, and was like, oh shit, I think I need to make another record, and then somebody shot him. So we're not cursed with whatever the hell John Lennon would be doing now to get attention, right? Yeah. Like, God forbid, what would happen if Kurt Cobain survived, made it through.
He would have been on the
90s.
Alex Jones show too.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's like, who knows what would happen. And it's
let's
like
talk
the old
about that.
saying. It's not if you're a racist, it's when you become a racist, right?
Okay,
It's like
right.
old people,
Yeah.
they get out of sync and they start saying and thinking and saying
Old
awful
school
things.
Old school.
Yeah,
All right,
they
so
just,
speaking of that, can you
age out.
you
You age
tell
out of
me,
the culture.
Can you tell me who or what Dave Chappelle is? Because I hear that name all the time in my capoeira class, and I don't know. What did he do?
He's a comedian, but he also is. He kind of takes this position of being under attack by the trans community, right? He says he's being condemned by them and canceled by them, and what it is he's saying unpalatable. He's
He's making fun of them. And is he a
and
person
also-
of color?
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay.
But
It's too
and
complicated.
so, for instance, him showing up at the end of Saturday Night Live on stage, and then there's some, LGBTQ members of the cast who are just like, why the fuck is Dave Chappelle here? He wasn't on the show, and now he's hanging out, high-fiving Justin Timberlake and Jimmy Fallon, and it's like, but he's said crazy shit about me and my friends,
So he's just another one who's looking for attention too.
Well, it's not that he's looking for attention. It's that he's gotten out of sync with culture, or his some of the things he says now don't are feel like bigotry,
Not
right?
going
Bigoted as opposed to funny,
Okay.
right?
All right.
Or would be considered by some people, and so what happens, especially with comedians, but all people. It's like, oh, everybody's getting oversensitive. Oh, you're trying to cancel me. And it's like, well.
Oh, that happens when, people
Yeah.
will say that when they get to a certain age. They're,
Yeah.
I'm being canceled now.
Right.
'cause
But
okay.
if you're making millions of dollars on Netflix specials, it's hard to, and everybody hears you talking about how you're being canceled. It's kind of like you're not really being canceled. You're just being told that, hey, grandpa, we can't take you out to the restaurant anymore because you start saying things about the waiters and waitresses that's not appropriate. Grandpa, if you want to get good health care in this hospital, you got to stop saying those things about the people who are keeping you alive. It's that same kind of situation that happens, right, with old people.
I got to say, like, my dad was such an ass. He was such an ass to the nurses. Like that first time he was in the hospital right before he died, he was such an ass. They hated him. Can you imagine? Like, maybe if he wasn't like that, he'd still be alive. Who knows? Probably would be, because I think they sent him home very fast. I was thinking about that.
That's
Yeah, I know. It's the way it happened, though. That's the way the cookie crumbles. I don't care. I'm not like, oh, Dad, you shouldn't have been an asshole. I'm just like, oh, I'm.
He also refused to use a walker or a wheelchair.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. He just was like that. Maybe he would have died earlier. I don't know. What was I going to say?
And he was also 95 years old.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about. More about comedians, because it was this week that Jon Stewart returned, the prodigal son returned home, right, to the Daily Show.
Yeah.
I was really excited about it. It took me until yesterday to have time to sit down and watch part of it, and then I didn't make it through the whole thing. But I'm like,
Did you not make it through the whole thing because you didn't have time, or was it because you were just like, oh, this doesn't work for me anymore?
Because I fall asleep at 10. I was so tired this whole week. I was so tired. No, I was laughing out loud. I was like, I was like belly laughing at him. So I'm still with him. And you weren't totally on. You were getting sick of him by the end.
Yeah, I mean, I great, funny, love political humor, right? But I also feel like, I don't know. I mean, listening to somebody complain for the next 9 months that these are not the people that should be running for president.
Yeah,
I mean, to me, that's
yeah.
just like, okay, wow.
Yeah,
well,
we know that.
so yeah.
Well, hopefully he'll advance in his message and save us all.
I don't know where are we going to go? It's basically going to be a freaking 9 month. It's going to be the
illuminating
most awful pregnancy of the United States political
because we're going to give birth to an 80-plus-year-old man, white man.
Hopefully, and not just a 70.
Oh, I forgot.
Plus.
Yeah. He's 77, right, Trump? That's exciting. That's exciting.
There's nothing exciting about it.
Sure, it's either well. What's exciting is Trump might win again. That's exciting.
It's not exciting.
It's like. It's so terrible. It's
And we can go back every 4 years where I'm talking like this, where it's like, I don't want to talk about it. There's no reason to talk about it until November because nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
And something could change. That's the thing is like,
somebody could die.
Yes. And then it's all
then it'll be exciting too. I think it's all exciting. It's more exciting. It's nothing I can really do about it. And it's entertaining. Every time Trump says something stupid, it's entertaining because I'm smarter than the president.
I'm just, imagining and I feel like I felt like at some point I was like, oh, okay, our country is going to make it to 250 years, because just thinking about being a kid and the bicentennial and then thinking about, the next big celebration is going to be 250 years.
Oh.
And it's like, I'll be this age.
Chris,
and it's like, it's exciting. But now it's like, oh my God, if only little Rick knew, that,
okay.
that this celebration in 1976 with guys, dressed up as British soldiers and American soldiers, shooting blanks at each other. It was going to be the most,
okay.
Yeah.
Chris Rieger, who's an alum of ISU, that's nice, is asking, did you guys come across Nirvana in person? I've actually achieved Nirvana, Chris. It happened while I was teaching. No, Nirvana. Did we
saw
don't, we
them.
don't, yeah, we saw, we didn't run in the drug circles.
No. Well, so they,
they played here.
They played with Steel Pole Bathtub in Champaign.
In Champaign. They
So
played,
that
they
would
were
have been-
late.
Yeah. And then
I don't know what year it was, but Steel Pole Bathtub wiped the floor with them because that's what Steel Pole Bathtub. That's Mike Moraski's band.
yeah, but Mike was saying it was rough. It was a rough tour for Nirvana. So that would have been previous drummer. They were a 3-piece though, so what's his name wasn't playing second guitar. But and so the thing is that I saw that show, and then when Nevermind came out, it was like, oh, that's the band that we saw with Steel Pole Bathtub with the left-handed guitar player. Like all of that I had absorbed from seeing Nirvana in 1989, would it have been? Was it's a lefty guitar player, which was unusual. Like my brother was lefty. There are a few lefty people, but it was like, that's what stuck in my mind. And then Steel Pole Bathtub was amazing.
Yeah,
but
I think I don't remember. Were we more excited to see Nirvana? Well, Nirvana was headlining, right? But
I don't know what the situation
was
was with that. I think they might have been opening for Steel Pole Bathtub. It's possible. So it would have been when Bleach came out. So
okay, but I feel like and then they were late. That would make sense. They were late, so Steel Pole Bathtub had to play first.
Well, there was also the Husker Du Soul Asylum show in Chicago where that happened, where Soul Asylum showed up late and played after Husker Du, and I thought that was very unprofessional. I held it against Soul Asylum for a couple years until they played too many good shows, and I forgave them.
They were a really good band live too. Yeah, but Nirvana wasn't at that point. Was not a very good live band. Maybe
I don't know. I think some people would say they were fine. It was just.
But I mean, yeah, if you're
Steel Pole Bathtub was a little more up our alley at the time, I think.
There was no.
So
band
there was the
good.
grunge. Yeah, so there was the sub pop scene that was going on, and so the kind of it was. I think it was interesting, but yeah, it's definitely changed.
What of that scene? Who did we hang out? Oh, we hung out with a Screaming Tree. We went on tour with the Screaming Trees. They're
that would have
from
been
that
after.
area.
That would have been after.
But they're
grunge
from that
broke.
Right. So these bands like Nirvana, Steel Pole Bathtub, Mudhoney probably came through U of I.
I don't know. I don't remember seeing Mudhoney in Champaign. I think we saw them in Chicago.
Did we play with them? We played with them.
We
right?
did play with them,
Yeah.
but not in the Midwest. Where do we play with them? Boy, I don't remember. Maybe we didn't play with them. We definitely saw them at a Seattle show. I remember talking to the bass player
Pearl
at
Jam.
the time.
We're too old for Pearl Jam, right?
Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam was friends.
Well, no, we played with the Smashing Pumpkins actually at what was the place in Rhode Island?
Oh, Club Babyhead.
Club Babyhead, and they were putting out. There was a Columbia. It was Pearl Jam on Columbia. There was a promo guy putting out cassettes of the Pearl Jam album.
The pink one? Was it a pink album? I can't remember.
No, it was
Soundgarden.
10.
He's asking.
Soundgarden. So Soundgarden, seeing that. So what was it? The bass player? Was it the bass player was from Chicago? The original bass player, Hero? Saw them at the Metro, and that would have been, was that the Sub Pop record, or was that the SST record? And so that was the band. Like when I saw them, that was the band I saw. So that would have been around the same time, maybe a little earlier than seeing Nirvana, but where it was like, holy shit. Like that, all the music that everybody was playing, the alt, the indie underground music, you saw Soundgarden. And to me, it was like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is it. this is going to be
They're
the
gonna
band
break. They're
that's
gonna
going
break.
to
Yeah.
blow everything open. That's when I saw Soundgarden,
Yeah.
it was just like, and that song, Hands All Over, the kind of like, where it was like the Zeppelin and then, Chris Cornell, and what's his name playing guitar. And it was just like, holy shit.
Where
it
did
was
you
like
see- where did-
somebody, that was at the Metro. And it was like,
okay.
oh,
Yeah, that would-
this is it. This is going to be the band. This is going to be that I thought they were Nirvana, basically. What happened with Nirvana was
Yeah.
a surprise because it was like, oh, Soundgarden's going to be that band.
okay, we got a bunch of comments here. Tina Nixon said she was at the Husker Du Soul Asylum show
In Chicago.
in Chicago.
Yeah.
Tina, let us know. And then Danny Ingram is asking about the Fastbacks, which Ellen booked. Our same booking agent.
Yeah,
booked them.
but
we saw them. We saw them once.
Yeah, that was much
Seattle
later,
or
though, right? That was at South by Southwest.
And David
Not in the
Bajkowski-
early days. So,
Yeah,
and I
we
feel
saw
like
them
maybe
later.
the Fastbacks didn't tour
Maybe
until...
it was on the East Coast that we saw them play, right?
No, the Fastbacks we saw at South by Southwest. That was with John Doe
Oh, yeah.
and the Fastbacks. That was later.
Did he borrow my bass?
I think he borrowed your amp.
He borrowed my amp. Yeah, we were talking
And
about
DJ
the,
Bonebreak was playing with them, so got to see half of X. But I saw X. We saw X, right? No, you didn't see X that one
I
time.
saw
did you?
X.
You went with, okay.
Yeah.
It was Mission of Burma that time that I went. Yeah, you didn't go with.
I didn't get to see Mission Burma,
Um,
and I was just talking with our son that I have a picture of me with the spawn of John Lennon, because we were talking about Chibo Mato,
Right.
and he and Dow remembered, Sean Lennon used your bass, and I was like, yeah, I guess that's
right.
kind of cool. Maybe I
And he
don't
was
hate
also wearing the big, what was that 1920s kind of big giant fur coat
it. Yeah,
that he had his father's that you saw in 68, 69.
yeah.
He actually had that same coat. It was
He was
pretty
really
freaky.
nice. He
Yeah,
was
he's a
really
nice
nice. Sean Lennon was very nice. Okay, David Bajkowski says, the first time I saw you play in Chicago, you played Cinnamon Girl. What other songs did you cover in the
Wow.
early days? That was
Yeah.
a weak moment. There was somebody just posted the Great Cover Up. And so the Great Cover Up was a show, like
I still do it.
yeah, they still do it in Champaign. We played the inaugural one and many after that. But it was bands that did not play covers, when it first started, bands that did not play covers playing covers, and you had to choose like three or four by a certain band. You couldn't play one Beatles song and one Who song and one whatever. You had to pick one band and cover 3 or 4 songs by them. And you could dress up, this was like bands would pick, bands that wore leather pants just so they could wear leather pants once in their lives, right? But you also, the other thing is you couldn't pick another band that somebody else had already picked, even the previous years. So you couldn't, whatever, Digits played AC/DC that first year, right? And which made sense. And we covered the Digits, which I thought was really awesome, because I love the Digits, and we'll have to talk about them later too. And then the next year, I don't remember, but we had, so what bands did we cover? Do you remember?
Early on, I'm trying to remember Poster Children. I remember what, like Penguin Dust and maybe Cries and Whispers. There was that really early band was like, we played Warsaw.
Joy
Butthole
Division,
Surfers. But the Warsaw version of Warsaw,
Yeah.
Hey by the Butthole Surfers. What else? Taking Care of Business, but that was because my roommate Jeff loved
Yeah,
Bachman Turner
I
Overdrive, and he
played
sang
that.
along with that.
Was dumb, but fun, very
What
fun.
were some of the other covers from that era?
Oh, because sometimes I'll hear a song on the radio and my left hand will start moving, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we must have covered that song."
Yeah, we played
an REM song. Did we?
We played a combination of. This is going to sound super stupid, but we played the Immigrant Song into Centerfold, right, by Jay Giles.
Yeah.
did some kind of weird
Yeah.
improvised thing. We did Tomorrow Never Knows for a little while.
Yes, we did.
There were other.
But the thing is, if you're not a cover band, you don't want to play covers, because then that's what all everybody's ever going to want to hear from you.
Yeah.
So you have to be really careful. Oh, they played their cover. So yeah, Tina was at the Chicago show. What was I talking about?
I can't help myself by the sound. I always talk about that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that was Brendan really loved this band, The Sound, and I can't help myself. And so we did a cover of that, and it would get loud. And so this is the thing: is everybody says, "Oh, you did the loud, quiet, loud thing because of the Pixies," but it was actually because of this sound cover. And I was like, "Okay, why are we playing the sound? We should just do our own song." And so pretty early on, like in Poster Children, at least, like we would have songs that were kind of like Bauhaus songs, but they were like it was called the Bauhaus song.
Yeah.
But because it was like Bauhaus and had that similar kind of aesthetic. Like She Walks to me is this is going to sound weird, but like Meat Puppets. Like that's to me is like, oh, this is like Meat Puppets up on the sun. It doesn't sound like that at all, but that's what it is in my head.
Oh yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, and then we
yeah.
would have Husker Du like songs.
Wait,
and
did you say already that we did play Bela Lugosi's Dead?
Oh,
It
yeah.
was like
That's,
joking or something.
Not even joking. It's just it was a
Look
yeah.
at so Chris Rieger says I want to hear you Poster Children's cover of Max Wedge. So Chris, you know
Did
the
we do that
digits?
song?
No, I don't think so. What digit
I
songs
don't remember
did we
what
play?
digit songs we did.
We would have played One Dead Hippie, right?
I don't. Was that even out yet?
Oh, maybe not. Wait, it's time to recover. It's time to play digit songs again.
Yeah.
They're
Again.
So
yeah,
okay,
covers
so
are dangerous.
yeah. So yeah, but not. Oh God, I love the digits. There's going to be a digit. So now I'm going to actually have to pay attention to Record Store Day because there's going to be a digits release of like the greatest tracks, the greatest hits. All I see, Rick Sims posted about this. He posted the cover of it, I think, and like people are like, I want to see the track list. And I'm like, you don't need to see the track list. You don't need to see that. It's just going to be there's not one digit song that isn't A+ with like 5 pluses after it. Every single one is fantastic. So you don't need to see the track list because it's the digits. It's the best. It's the best of the digits. They're the best band in the whole world.
I don't know if you've already got all the records, right? And then
I'm going to
you
buy it
wanna
anyway though
decide,
because I
yeah.
love them so much. And I remember the last time we saw them was that like Touch and Go anniversary party or
Yeah.
something. And me and Wanje were like, this is our music. This is for us. It was so, oh my God. They're so good, Rick Digit. You're so awesome. Okay.
Somebody just posted a video of, I wish I could remember who it was, David Yao talking about seeing the birthday party in Dallas or Houston when, like in 1982 or 83. But like, and like going like specifically from Austin to Dallas to see the birthday party and just how amazing it was. But then later on, he was doing an interview and he would always be like kind of waffly about how, whether or not Scratch Acid or Jesus Lizard were influenced by the birthday party. But there was one time where he was doing an interview with him and what's his name from Killdozer, and the guy from the interviewer said, "So you guys were influenced by the birthday party?" And then the guy from Killdozer said, "Influenced? We rip them off. We're ripping them off like both bands." And it's like, yeah, it's like I think you don't realize it kind of hit me like even weirdly, like I could hear it like when the Tar reissues came out, I could hear Birthday Party in Tar even.
Oh yeah.
Whereas like Tar is like to me, very kind of
Tar-like?
like slabs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then it was like, yeah, when I was re-listening to a lot of that stuff, I was like, oh wow, even they had the birthday party thing going on. It was profoundly influential on that
Okay.
Chicago scene.
All right, I have to make
And
a
I understand also Wisconsin and
yeah.
Austin.
Yeah.
The touch and go scene,
right
let's call
above
it.
each other.
Yeah.
All right, I have to make a comment on just one more digits thing. That did you look closely at the album cover art that Rick posted? Because there's a quote from Steve Albini, and it just says, "They were the best band of the '80s." I just laughed. I was laughing so hard when I read that. I don't know why. It's because it's kind of it's kind of insulting too, right?
Is it?
Yeah, it's the best band of the
I could
80s.
see him being honest.
I
That
know.
his being his honest
Well,
opinion.
but he talks so like he loved the digits. He will explain to you exactly why they're the best band in the world. Okay, Joe Chrisman says. Oh, and Chris Rieger says, "I'm glad I'm not the only person who does that. I'm not really sure what it is, but I'll bet you're talking about not playing covers or something, maybe. Oh, and I think their band, was it Feed the Monkeys? I think they're coming to play here. What if they're playing tonight? and I don't know. You better tell us,
Well, then
Chris,
you're,
if you're
you're
still...
a bad person.
I am a bad person. Jesus Christ. Okay. Joe Chrisman says, have you guys ever heard the Blue Meanies? Oh, he's tagged.
Yeah.
No, he's tagged him. Play Ace of Spades by Motorhead at the Metro. It's epic.
My brother has a story about seeing Motorhead. It wasn't at the Metro, though. Where did he see Motorhead?
Oh, next Friday, Chris is saying. Okay.
Yeah. Motorhead. Where did Jim see Motorhead? That's his story, though.
We should make sure that everybody
Loudest
in arts
concert.
and creative technologies goes to see Chris band. Okay, sorry, Motorhead. Yeah, your brother's like weirdly cool because he sees bands like Motorhead, and then he's got a
Well, yeah,
What's
it
the
was
t-shirt?
1985 or
Yeah.
something. Motorhead, yeah.
and he was like
At-
14 or something.
Maybe it was the Aragon. Did he see him at the Aragon?
Well, Aragon
Yeah, I think
is
that's what it was
terrible.
because he said that was the only show that actually sounded good at the Aragon because of how loud they were.
Oh yeah,
Right,
that-
like they overpowered the
the
room.
space. Yeah.
the room is awful.
Can you
for-
imagine how loud that was?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very loud.
All right, Evan Bailey says, what kind of expectations did Poster Children have when Junior Citizen video hit 120 minutes in 1995?
You want me to talk about my story about the
Yeah.
Poster Children video,
Yeah.
which is, well, first off, we got it cheap because the guy was part of a video making group and then was splitting off from
Which
this
is the
team.
Junior Citizen? Oh, it's that one. With
and
the,
then
okay,
had all these
room.
great ideas, but then it was kind of like, and this is kind of the story with a lot of our videos is like we got them cheap, and
Or you made
it was
'em.
like a demo reel, kind of thing
Right,
too.
the guy was doing like some kind of weird like animation. He was like,
Yeah.
well, I got this idea for a weird animation.
And fine, that's what happens with music videos. But like, then
But the
we
record
got
label
the
was
rough-
paying for it.
Yeah. But not. We got it cheap. That was the thing. Is it
Yeah.
it was going to be, and that happened also with the He's My Star video.
Yes,
it was David's.
free. We just had to drive.
Yeah,
to
it was his kind of demo, like so people, doing their kind of demo, like a demo reel, but not really. It was just like, anyways, we got the rough edit, and then I did a 3-page list of timed moments where I thought there should be edits and faxed it to the director, and then he stopped talking to me. And then the video came out.
And then we never. And
Then
we
never
we
had
never
anybody.
had anybody do
no,
it. Yeah.
what's his name?
Who?
The drummer guy from Thin White Rope. He did the "What's Inside the Box" video. After that, we had one more video, which again
We're total control freaks.
was
so.
the my. So this was the problem. Is I had that vision of like this very very specific vision of how to do an '80s style music video, and then we would keep trying to do it with other people. And it wouldn't work, and then frickin' finally, what's it called? Not Steelable Bathtub. What's the Stone Temple Pilots came out with the video that was just perfect. It was just like, that's the video I wanted to make.
I thought it was the Smashing Pumpkins.
No.
that had a good video.
It's a famous, and not that that's an original idea. Oh, make a video that looks like an old video, but at the time it was, it was just at the
Would've
right
been
time
cool.
to do
Yeah,
the retro
yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
And then finally Stone Temple Pilots just nailed it, with the white background, whatever
Oh.
that video is. And it's just like, okay, whatever.
But as far as like expectations, like here's what my expectation was. I couldn't believe that they were going to play it on 120 minutes. I was like, oh my God, they're going to play it on 120 minutes. And 120 minutes was like the Sunday from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Like when they would play like weird music, right? Like that was the only time they would play weird music on like alternative music or alternative music on MTV. So it was very exciting, and I was like, I had heard that they were going to play it, and I remember saying, well, I'll believe that when I see it, because so many times, when you're a band, oh, this is going to happen, and then all of a sudden it doesn't happen.
So that's the thing is the If You CK video, that was the one that was the exciting one, because that was the tour, right, where we started. We had quit our jobs.
Yeah.
Daisy Chain Reaction had finally come out, which we had recorded a year before. It was supposed to be released a year before.
On Twin Tone.
Yeah, and then finally came out.
We asked for 6 weeks off of our jobs, our
Everybody
flight
knows that,
simulator jobs, and then they said no, and so we quit.
Right, and so that's and Nevermind had come out the day we left on tour, and then by
This
the
is in that
time
book.
we got to Austin, things were getting crazy. We were starting to get the phone calls. It's like, oh, not just the three guys who sign weird bands from major labels want to talk to you when you get to New York. It's like we've got 17 labels lined up to talk to you because that everything was getting crazy. And then what was it? Not Louisiana. It was Texas, right? Where did we see? So we played a show in Texas, and it was a Sunday night, and then we sat in the bar after our show and watched the If You Say CK video
with the people who were there.
They were like
on cheering for us.
Yeah, on 120 Minutes. And that was beautiful. That was a great moment because it was like that was exciting because it was that time where everything was seemed like, oh, the world was going to change. And even though it was Nirvana and not Soundgarden, that became, even though Soundgarden became huge also, but it was like, it was a crazy time. And then, the next record, we didn't have a video, right? They didn't play, did they play Clock Street? They did play Clock Street.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't play Dynamite Chair because it had violence and explosions. And smoking, right? Did the guy light the dynamite with a cigarette?
No, the record company executive had a cigar in his mouth.
Oh, right. And
Yeah,
but that was just an excuse, I think, to not play the
Yeah.
video. But so we had a
Weird
gap
song.
where they didn't play a video, and then so by Junior Citizen it was nice, but it was also different. Everything was different then.
But it should be said, in case we have new listeners, that we never really expected anything at all to happen. I never really expected anything to happen. What I was looking for was I wanted to tour. I liked touring, and we started doing that without any record label. We worked our flight simulator jobs so we could buy a nice little minivan, and we were lucky enough to have a wonderful Chris is writing stuff. We have a wonderful wonderful booking agent, Ellen, who, booked us wherever we needed to play, and we got so much respect everywhere we played and stuff. And it was just, for me, it was just like, oh my God, this is we're going to get to play in New Mexico again? We're going to get to do this? Like every single time. It was like, what? And then I'd cry afterwards and be very upset that we didn't play, we didn't play well or something. But it's just, I love the whole thing, and I would do it again over and over and over again a million times. And Chris Rieger says, I want more respect put on 3 bullets.
That was
Chris,
that was like a codeine song.
You're so
I
sweet.
could identify every song probably that is some convoluted. Yeah, the reason why we didn't play covers is we just would play convoluted.
We just rip off other bands.
Yeah,
Codeine. Look up the band Codeine.
So badly that no one would know.
Yeah.
Like, what is it, the song? Like, I remember telling someone, not that a lot of people know this song, but that song Attack on RTFM is like a krautrock, like a Noi kind of what's the band that's Stereolab, kind of and it's like, oh, that doesn't sound anything like, but it was like that was where it was coming from. Regardless.
Yeah, I remember
and it would get mangled.
It would get
right?
mangled, right? It's not, you would have like a vision. Poor Rick would come in with here's my riff, and then somebody would play something totally not what he was expecting, and he just went with it. Most of the time, all the time, pretty much. And that's why we have Thoughts Detecting Machine. I'm sorry, interrupted you?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Which one is 3 bullets? I'd probably drop a D on that.
It's definitely a drop D song. And
where there's also Dead Man. Is that 3 bullets or is that another?
No, Dead
Man
Man's
is
a drop D and similar. But
I
that's
love,
a few years later.
Yeah, I love the song Dead Man, and I remember if we ever played it on the I would write Bead Man on the, because if you change the D into a B, then it looked like Bead Man. I would always put that on the set list if anybody has an old set list with Bead Man on it. That was fun. Ha! Oh, Evan says interesting. Thanks for all that. These are great questions. I was just going to talk about the stupid Apple Vision Pro VR headset that's in our house right now. Thanks to Roy Magnuson, not a sponsor, but a sponsor. I would
say Illinois State University, right, is a sponsor.
That's right. Illinois State University is a sponsor. Do you have anything else to say about old rock and roll? 30 years ago. I still think it's funny that Steve Albini writes about the best band of the 80s or something. So I don't know. I think that's funny.
It is. I guess
it's funny.
Now that you say it, I guess it is funny.
Because like that, what it means, it's an insult because it's saying that their 90s music wasn't any good, right? Or wasn't the best, But they had music in the 90s.
It's the kind of thing
it's
that
funny.
It is, yeah.
It's a total Steve
It's
Albini
like a Rex
thing.
Reed kind of comment.
No, it's a Steve Albini comment. He's
well,
being funny.
no, what I mean is like it could be interpreted as sarcastic.
Yeah,
or as like just saying something so generic and over the top.
If anybody has more music questions for us, then please ask, because it's probably more interesting than anything else. Like, once in a while when I'm talking in music business class and then I got to say, that reminds me of a story. I'm like Mark Lanigan,
But you're not dead.
It's old news now. Oh, did you hear? All right, Chris is saying, did you talk about the whole venue merch cut thing Steve Albini talked about? A bunch of people got pissed at him about it. It's old news now. I don't know.
What about?
I'm liking it, Chris, but I don't know what you're talking about.
It's bad. I mean, that was always a problem when you played larger venues or were like opening up for a bigger band, is the merch cut, and then having to count in your merch, and then if you weren't operating on that level, you didn't have a merch person, so it would be...
You had no idea how many T-shirts. There were a couple of times when we would go to a club and we'd sell our merch, and then they'd come up to us and be like, how many T-shirts did you sell? And I'd be like, I don't know, because we're taking a 10% or something. And then I always would fight with them and beg them, please don't take a percent of our merch, people.
Because as I always said, I spent most of the late 80s and early 90s as a T-shirt salesman. That was how we made most of our money.
Yeah, because we didn't sell beer. That was what the club did. We sold the T-shirts. Okay, so I have you guys want to hear about the Apple Vision Pro? I hate VR. You guys all know that I hate VR. I hate it because I worked with it back in I worked with it in the 90s, before or after we even started touring. Was it in between? It must have been after.
Yeah.
No, it was 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Yeah, nobody wants to hear about that VR headset.
Well, you might be curious
I'll
about
talk
it.
about it a little bit, but Chris says Jeff Rosenstock, artist, posted the percentage venues take on merch and complained about it, saying it's not just, and causes prices to be jacked up. And Steve called him a baby.
Really? Interesting.
Or something.
Huh.
Yeah. I could. Wow.
I don't know
funny.
why.
Well, yeah, why Steve would.
Yeah.
I mean,
do they did merch? They would do merch, right? Like Fugazi never did merch.
Fugazi would sell records and stuff, right? Probably.
Did they sell records at the shows?
Maybe they didn't.
I'm trying to remember if they had they even had records at the shows. I mean, they sold records, but they didn't sell T-shirts. There's no such thing as an official Fugazi shirt, I don't think.
Correct. Although
Yeah.
I have one.
Well, you
because
have one, but
Ian wrote Fugazi on my shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, but wait. So Chris Rieger says, Steve said they're negotiable. You just didn't try hard enough. That's true. That is true. Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Oh, I can see. Yeah, see, this is where Steve is like a little bit older than us, so he's kind of a hippie, right? So I could see him being like, "You just didn't negotiate hard." That's totally a Steve Albini thing to say, though. But both him and Ian would say stuff like that, like, "Oh yeah, you don't have to sell merch. You can make a living just with your music. I do it." That kind of thing. Yeah, I could see, yeah, it's fine. Oh, Chris says it seemed out of character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might have been, teasing.
Evan Bailey says, Wide Awake is one of my favorites, and it's one of mine too, Evan Bailey. And you also are one of our children. Dairy King, I think, has said that Wide Awake is, I love that song so much. So Evan says, I remember getting to the brewery in Louisville a little late when you all were opening for Matthew Sweet.
And played before.
And he made us play before the doors
Yes.
opened. As soon as I got out of the car, I could hear you all going from the intro to that into that tune from outside. It was probably loud. Ran up and got got to hear the last half up close. So I'm glad we played it. I always would sing that out of tune, though. I was always so freaked out about that song. But I love that song so much. Joe Christmas, you want to say anything about Matthew Sweet?
No, but I was going to say that song was like electronic music. I think, I had the riff and a drum machine or something, and it turned into. But if you listen to it, it is kind of like if you sampled everything, it would make sense, right? But it wasn't sampled. We were just playing loops. But it's an electronic song without any electronics,
I love that song
right?
so
It's like
much.
our take on electronica in a weird way.
I love that song. Okay, Joe Chrisman here says, my introduction to the Poster Children was when our friend's mom, our friend's mom
When my grandmother,
handed us a VHS tape of the New Expressions show you
yeah.
guys did at WIL. Didn't we do that twice?
we did apparently.
They only recorded half of it. They only recorded half of it, but it was enough to blow us away.
The good half.
In My Way really moved me.
So that would have been the second one?
Go through
No.
and like all these things here.
I remember the first New Expressions we did
We were sitting on
before
a couch
we
and looked
started-
stupid.
sitting before we started doing the live performance, and Jim and I were working out Dynamite Chair.
Yeah.
I remember doing that at the New Expressions taping.
Cody likes Wide Awake also. So you were working on Dynamite Shirt. Is that well? That's
It's interesting.
yeah.
It's what I remember.
And Chris is saying that the Steve Albini thing was funny because it put him in the national music industry news again.
Again, he's older. He's got to say controversial things to keep it. Keep his.
I wonder what
him,
he's up to.
He's
Hey,
making records.
Like Chris. All right, so Chris, were you here? Like did you help me bring? See, every 3 or 4 years, there's a student who like knows all these old, the old rock. So then I can trot Steve Albini or Ian Mackay out, and then there, people care about it, and it's fun for me. But I think Chris was here when we were trying to get Steve Albini down here. And it was like he would only take public transportation down here, even though he's like 2 hours away from here. And like the one time, so he's only going to take a train. And the one time we finally got him like to the and he'd take a bike to the train, right? Or something like that. And, he wouldn't even take his car to the train or something like that. Right. And then the roof of Union Station caved in, right? On
Something
was that?
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something happened like
Water, was it the water main?
that. Oh, and
broke?
Chris is saying he was there at the dinner with Steve. Where did we
Yeah.
eat? Did we eat at Puran?
Yeah.
Wow.
That wasn't that long ago, right?
No, it wasn't that long ago.
5, 10, 15 years ago.
Well, it was before
It was
COVID.
pre-COVID,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And then I
You're not talking into the mic anymore.
okay, yeah, no, it's just because it was the polar vortex. Yeah.
That's right. Remember those days when it was just the polar vortex we were worried about?
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say I like reminiscing about old rock stuff because it's really easy. You don't have
That's
to
what
think
the
too
old
hard.
folks do at the home. They just talk about the old days.
And Evan Bailey saying New Boyfriend into Wide Awake on Junior Citizen, one of the best off-time 1-2 punches ever. So bring.
Yeah, that was interesting because New Boyfriend was supposed to be on the EP, right?
Wait.
So Bryce mixed that,
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. No, not
then-
on. Yeah, sorry, go on.
and then we moved it
I sang
over
it
to
wrong.
the album, and then put other stuff on the EP because
And-
the New Boyfriend sounded good.
That surprised me is people like that song, New Boyfriend. People were like, play New Boyfriend.
It's
and
a
I was-
rock anthem.
Yeah. Wait, booty, that's the, here's how you play the bass part to New Boyfriend. I should just do a series of TikToks like that. Booty, booty, It's funnier when Matt does it. Okay.
And I'm trying to remember what we were ripping off on that one. That
New
would have been
boyfriend?
like AC/DC or something, just with a weird time signature.
Or was like, oh, let's play something in the key in the time signature of 9, or like the new boyfriend is probably 7. 1,
think
2,
so, yes.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2. Yeah, and Wide Awake is probably 7 too, right? Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah,
6,
we were doing a lot of
7. Yeah,
7 songs.
7. And I came up to my dad because my dad's a jazz bo, and I was like, Dad, we have a song that's in 11. And he was like, who cares? That was, yeah.
That's that Dave
that
Brubeck
story.
pop shit.
Yeah. Okay, yes, both are in 7. Thank you, Evan. How's that new Salaryman record coming, Rick?
Good.
Good. Is it progressing nicely?
Yes,
Is
it's progressing nicely.
The record progressing nicely? You know what? That's going to be a good record. I know the songs on it. I can call them up in my memory, and I like them a lot. I think that's going to be a good record. It'll be a good TikTok record. What are some of the hits on that record?
The new Salaryman record?
Yes.
Let's not talk about it
All right,
until
whatever.
it's done.
Okay. So anyway, the Apple VR Pro headset. So Vision Pro headset I have because I work at a university, and so I get to try it out. So I tried it out, and I already knew because I saw the keynote or whatever on it that it was just about putting screens in front of your face. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So when I put it on, so you put it on, it's a little less stupid looking than the Oculus. Like it sticks out from your eyes a little less. It's got kind of a neat corrugated back strap to it. I know I could just have it here, but it's in the other room.
No, I'm more looking at it. It just seems like you're not talking.
Oh,
you're
sorry.
Quiet. Been
Yeah.
quiet a lot for the show. I'm worried. Yeah.
So well, I can hear myself in the monitors, but you put it on, and then you can sit in front of your computer. Well, okay, you can put it on, and it's got some convoluted iOS like it's like an iPhone kind of, but it's Vision Pro system or something like that. So it's locked down. You can't really but the interface to me is stellar. You look at things, and then you take your 2 fingers and you like pinch. Like that's how you don't have to hold a controller in your hand or anything, and it works. It like really works. So you've got like 6 little balls in front of your eyes that are all little icons that you can, one of them is like the pictures, and one of them is like Chrome or not Chrome. Chrome is not on it actually. One of them is Safari, one is like Netflix or something like that. And like you look at it, it gets a little bit bigger because it can tell what your eyes are looking at. And then you just kind of click your fingers together, and that selects it. And it's not really not worked. It just worked each time. And then, so if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, so then the window's open up in front of you. And so you can do your work. You can have like a spreadsheet, like an IMAX theater in front of your face, which to me is really nice because I just usually will just work on this laptop. You downstairs in your studio, you have a giant screen.
Yeah, and so to me, but I think we've seen that before with VR headsets and stuff. What's a little different about this is the sort of video pass through. So you're seeing the environment you're in, and it tracks when you're looking around, but then it also locks that screen in place. So if you wobble your head around the image, the screen that's projected, it's all projected, is fixed based on your head movement. It doesn't, if you woggle around your head, the picture doesn't move with your head. It stays fixed in the space.
The screen. Yeah, the screen.
And the video feedback of the space you're in. So that to me is what made it interesting. It's not, oh, wow, you got a big picture in front of your eyes, and it's like, I feel like that's happened every era of this VR stuff. It's the nice integration of motion tracking, like the head tracking, and then also the tracking of the hands, gesture tracking, and then having the real world feedback, which is interesting. Yeah, and I didn't feel sick when I was using it too, which I thought I would. I guess that's the resolution and the refresh rate, is that the image you're getting of the room you're in looks comparable. Like you kind of go, oh, is it just a window Like, is it showing me the actual room, or it's actually a stereo video projection? It's taking real-time video of the space you're in and projecting it into your eyes, which seems ridiculous and redundant, but it works.
Yeah, it really, really works.
Yeah.
So I was sitting with you guys. I think we watched what was that? A Grammy or the Super Bowl or something. What were we watching? There?
One of those.
So one of the big things.
One of the big things.
And I was sitting there, and so I was sitting on the floor with these guys. And then we have a giant TV set. So we're sitting there, but I was also like I was actually working. So I had in front of me, I could see everything that was happening in the room and talk to everybody. I was like with everybody, but that is mediated by cameras. Like you're seeing it's camera display. So, but it's not weird. It does, like Rick is saying, it's not weird. And then I was able to place screens in front of me. So have a little screen off to the right with my sister's messaging with my mom. And then there's another screen to the left. I think I had a video, like a little capoeira video on the left here. And then in front of me, like a giant spreadsheet. And then I think I might have been grading stuff too. I might have had some grading stuff. But the spreadsheet was a big thing. Like I was trying to go through spreadsheets and write notes and stuff. And I was sitting with my laptop in front of me too on my lap, so I could type in the laptop, because I was projecting what was on the laptop in front of me. And the thing that got me is just anytime I wanted to move a screen around, so I want to see Taylor's on the screen on the TV set. And so I'd just stick my hand in front of me, look on the bottom right hand corner of the screen that I was looking through, and just pinch. And then you could like resize the screen, and then there's a little bar underneath each window, and you could resize, or you drag the window around like that. Just real obvious stuff. Real obvious stuff.
And the audio too, the sound.
Oh, the sound was
pretty
fantastic.
Impressive.
Yeah.
So it's spatial audio, right?
Yeah.
But it's also you're not wearing headphones. It's But you can't really hear it out, like when somebody else is wearing it. Or like when you were in the room and you were listening to stuff, you don't really hear it, but when you're wearing it, you hear it pretty good sound.
Very well. Yeah, and if you move, you're watching a video and then you move it over to the right, it goes to your right ear, and if you move it over to the left, it goes to your left. I think they did a really, really, really good job on it. And what else was I going to say? Okay, so the drawbacks are you can't wear it with glasses. If you wear glasses, you can't. This will not work with you. You have to buy glasses inserts or have contact lenses. So like at night, I took my glasses off. I took my contacts off, and I was like, well, I'll just fit my glasses in here. It'll be fine. And it won't do your eye tracking for you. It won't work. So you have to buy these. They're like $150 inserts or something like that. So Joe Christman says, I wonder if the Apple Vision Pro will replace seeing shows at the Sphere in Vegas. and I mean, so this was what I was going to say. Like I keep saying, I got to watch Dune. I got to rewatch Dune, because I am the only person who loves the book Dune. I love this book. I read all of the books. I learned how to write in Fremen, or however many, whatever they say, Freeman. I learned how to write phonetically in that language. I love those stupid books so much. I hated every movie. When the first Dune movie came out, I was like, oh, okay, this is good. But then I reread, or I listened to the audiobook of Dune, and it's just so much better. It's such a good book. You can't translate it to a movie. There's such a good set of books. I'm sorry, it's really good. I know I'm a geek.
You've even read like Cousin of Doom?
Yes, I did.
And Steamboat Doom Jr.?
I did. I read all of them. I read all, there were 4 of them. I read them all.
The Twins of Dune?
Yes. God Emperor of Dune. I read all of them.
Mr. Dune.
With my eyes, with a book, holding a book in my hand, a book made of paper I read. And they're good.
Voyage of the Dune Treader.
I read that one too. I read all of them. So the movie, I'm like, oh, good. That's good. Well, I wonder which books it's going to cover. It's because even the whatever.
The Lion, the Worm, and the Wardrobe. Did you read that one?
Anyway, what was I going to say? I forgot. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to rewatch the Dune 2024 before the next Dune comes out, right? Just coming out in March or something. So I'm going to watch it. And then I was like, well, I'm going to watch it on the big TV here. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm going to watch it on the Apple VR headset. It'll be IMAX sized. That'll be cool. And so then I figured out how to get it to work on the Apple VR headset. I'm like all alone in the room down here, and there's a little button where you can make your environment like the Dune, like the cloakroom or something in Dune, like the Atreides house or something. I don't know. There's an environment that built in to Hulu or Netflix, wherever you watch it, Amazon Prime. I don't remember where I was watching it from. There's a button on the VR headset that makes it so you're in the room watching the big movie. And so I turned that on, and I was getting tired. Like I watched like the first 30 seconds of it, and I turned it off because I was really lonely.
Yeah.
You know what I really want to watch? Master of the Flying Guillotine. I want to watch that again.
On your Apple Vision
no,
Pro?
I don't want to. No, I want to watch it with other people. Joe Chrisman is saying Star Wars. Why are you saying that?
Star Wars. That's what people always say when they're listening to podcasts. At some point, they comment.
I do, yeah.
Star
I was
Wars.
thinking,
Probably
I'm
watching
gonna
it on.
I'm going to watch Star Wars on the Apple VR headset.
Which version? That candy-colored one?
Well,
the one that's all red and blue, shiny.
I do have to say that Bad Batch is coming out. Bad Batch 3 is coming out like really soon, and
Bad Batch 3, Son of Bad Batch.
I will be watching that because I love the Bad Batch. You those of you guys who haven't watched the Star Wars cartoons just don't even know.
Me?
You don't know.
I don't.
Some of you people.
I'm joyfully ignorant. Star Wars cartoons.
Oh, Cody B says, I love Dune. And apparently they're making a bunch of sequels into movies as well. Yeah, they have to. That's... it's so... just read it. You all have to read the book, Dune. You should... I don't know why people don't read the book. I know. And you didn't... Yeah, okay. Chris is saying no Clone Wars rips. Wait, what does that mean? What does that mean, Chris? Clone Wars rips? No Clone Wars rips? Rest in pieces? What does this mean? What are the kids? I don't understand the kids' dialogue these days, Chris. Rick, give it a shot. Skip season 1 and watch it. Oh, the Clone Wars. Oh, I think what Chris
Clone
is
Wars
saying.
rips. It's great.
It's good. He says it's like he's saying it's sick, right? Okay, it means it's good. Means it's good.
I'm reading this book
Chris,
called.
I miss you.
Oh, now I can't remember what it's called. It's the new Francis Ford Coppola kind of biography.
Are you still reading that?
I'm still reading it. I've gotten through Apocalypse Now. It kind of Apocalypse Now is kind of the sort of arc that it's hung on, but it goes to it starts from his childhood and talks about after Apocalypse but George Lucas is very involved in that story, and it's just interesting to see how George Lucas, kind of they both had this vision, or I don't know. I'm the kind of building these little empires, right? These like Lucasfilm, but then American Zoetrope also is kind of Francis Ford Coppola's thing, but George Lucas kind of broke off from American Zoetrope and did his own thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really that interested in the Star Wars universe. Sorry.
Wait, what did Francis Ford Coppola have to do with the Star Wars universe? What?
Francis Ford Coppola basically made THX 1138 happen. He produced American Graffiti.
Okay.
So American Zoetrope, Francis Ford Coppola's kind of vision for this, film.
Unify, helping
Yeah.
filmmakers.
So George Lucas was part of that group, and Walter Murch, and what's his name? The guy who, John. What's his? Is based on John Milius. John Milius. All those people. Francis Ford Coppola is kind of like the older brother, kind of older, and he enabled a lot of he was definitely a supporter, financial and sort of creative supporter of George Lucas. It's just that George went off instead of staying with Francis Ford Coppola's kingdom, he went and built his own.
Yeah. See, now I'm thinking, we need an American zoetrope here in the Midwest, not the Midwest, but in the middle of Illinois. We could do that.
Well, I'm what I'm really interested in is this idea, and it's really fascinating. It's when these people get successful, but they want to create these creative communities, and they want to build this huge kind of utopian creative community. And even I think did I talk about this last time? Like the Cars, it sounds weird, but the Cars buying the studio that, for instance, in Boston, like Aerosmith recorded its first record at, and they bought the studio. I was just watching a video about it, like from the early 80s. Like they bought this and renovated it, and then recorded one of their records there. And then they wanted it to be kind of like the music community of Boston, right? It was going to be a central location for that, right? And Coppola was like that too. He's like American Zoetrope. It's going to be this home for these filmmakers. It's going to be a new version of the studio system, but creative and independent. And we're going to buy sound stages and kind of what everything. And Francis Ford Coppola did that, but George Lucas did it too, like building Industrial Light and Magic and Lucasfilm, right? And so these kind of this idea, even like Warhol's Factory, right? That idea, these kind of creative scenes, communities, but then they always kind of fall apart, or they turn in, like Andy Warhol got shot, right? And it kind of, that whole community disappeared. And then Francis Ford Coppola went broke, and George Lucas, just kind of disappeared up his own, creative ass, or non-creative.
He got famous, and that it bent.
Yeah, he was the one who got the most money. That's the thing, is like Francis Ford Coppola got a lot of money and burned through it, but then didn't have a Star Wars. Like if that Star Wars money had stayed within American Zoetrope,
yeah,
it would have been, I don't know what would have happened, but it would have been interesting, but it probably would have, just
things would have scaled up. Like Oprah says, you get more money, you get a nicer towel.
But then what's his name? The African American filmmaker who's just built that huge studio in, not just, but like in Atlanta. Mama's, that whole series of stuff. I can't remember his name. Anyways, he did kind of the same thing, and it's like these guys do this, and it's really exciting and interesting, but then it always seems to collapse under its own weight, right? I'm just interested in it.
Chris saying, have either of you seen Godzilla -1, or were you ever into Godzilla? I've never asked.
I've watched some of the Godzilla, and then the other podcast I'm on, there's some Godzilla going on for the new season.
Joe Christmas is saying, are they making movies at the old Air Force Base in Rantoul? He's been seeing posts about Tyler Perry.
Thank you, Jesus.
Hey, Joe Chrisman. All right, we're 10 minutes over. Are you going up to see the Joffrey tomorrow?
I think so.
Special.
Yeah.